Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I was going through the comments section to see what kind of content you guys were looking for, and tier lists seem to be relatively popular still. So I'm going to do a Jak and Daxter tier list and tell you what I think about the franchise as we go along. So right off the bat we have Jak and Daxter, which was Naughty Dog's first platformer series after they finished Crash Bandicoot. And you know what? It's a running trend that I always give the first game in the series an A, but that's exactly what we're going to do here with Jak and Daxter. It had a nice, colorful, cartoony world, great humor. The visuals were a little lacking, but they did the best they could as far as visuals can go. Daxter did look kind of awful, but other than that, the villains were fun. Gaul and Maia. They had all the eco abilities. Overall, it was a great first chapter to a new franchise that Naughty Dog was creating. And then I don't know how you guys will feel about this one, but as far as jumping from Jak 1 to Jak 2, hands down S. It just took everything and cranked it to 11. It got all mature. I'm doing the finger quotes. Mature with guns. But that isn't why I liked it. I liked it because of the huge map to explore. The world just felt like real. Like the world building was amazing. The characters out of this world. The visuals got an overhaul, look much better, and it still kept true to the core canon of the series, and the eco returned and became ammunition for your gun, and each different color represented a different type of ammunition for the gun. You had the hoverboard. Just everything about this game was just so much fun, completing just missions, exploration, collectibles. It was amazing. There's just no other way for me to express my love for this game. It was just hands down amazing. So then we move on to Jak 3. All the praise that I just gave Jak 2, Jak 3, honest to God, it felt like DLC for Jak 2. It barely changed anything. It didn't try anything new, which when things aren't broken, you don't fix them. So it's kind of hypocritical to say they didn't try anything new, because I love Crash 2 and Crash 3. They just added some moves and stuff and some time trials, but overall core it was the same gameplay. Jak 3, it took the story. Without getting into too many spoilers, I won't say characters. The series has been over for years, but still, I don't want to spoil anyone. They took the love story that had been going on since the first game, and they completely just turned it on its head for no reason, no explanation. They had all this lore built up as to who the final bad guys were going to be, and in part, it's the fandom and the message boards and everyone speculating of what's going to happen that really made it a letdown. But they took such a minor character and he became the big bad, and it just felt sloppy, and it was rushed. You could tell it was rushed. They had to get it out within a year, and overall, I wouldn't give it a C or a D, because at its core, it functioned well. It had good controls, but the story, it was just atrocious. And speaking of atrocious story, here's Jak X. Jak X was the racer. Naughty Dog did Crash 1, 2, and 3, and then CTR. Then they did Jak 1, 2, and 3, and then Jak X Combat Racing. I'm half tempted to give this game a D, primarily because it corrupted 2 memory cards. But, you know, like, it's between C and D. I wish I could put it halfway through, but I can't, so I guess I'll give it a C. The story felt ham-fisted and forced, which it was their last hurrah, I guess. So they didn't really, they honestly, it didn't seem like they cared. They added some new characters. They threw together a plot, and racing games don't need plot. But this is the Jak and Daxter franchise, which was very plot heavy. So to bring a new game in and just throw it at us, there was glitches. Like I said, it corrupted 2 memory cards of mine. I remember the physics were awful. You would touch a wall while you were racing, and you'd flip 100 times and explode just by tapping the wall. It made hero mode extremely hard to complete. And maybe some of this stuff was ironed out and fixed in the re-releases and the PS3 version, like the collections and all that stuff, but I only ever played the PS2 version of all these games. And Jak X was an awful experience, and the only reason that I completed it was because I loved the series as much as I did. So now, moving on into the quote-unquote spin-offs, which I guess Jak X could be counted as a spin-off too, but the PSP game Daxter. This game was a midquel. It took place in between Jak 1 and Jak 2. They retconned a bunch of stuff, and the story was solid. Like, you wouldn't even know that it was a midquel. It flowed perfectly with the other games. And the gameplay was fun. And it honestly, as far as PSP games go, this was probably the game to own for the PSP. I only own like 5 games on the PSP, and this was hands down the best one. The gameplay, the characters, the story, the visuals, all of it, A++. And now we move on to the last game on this tier list, Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier. And you know what? I'm probably going to get hate for this, but I'm putting it up here on the B tier. I continuously see people crap all over this game for not being made by Naughty Dog, and not really a Jak game, filler, garbage. I see all these words thrown around. People say, oh, it wasn't made by Naughty Dog, so it's automatically crap. Which is ironic, because High Impact Games, the company that made this game and developed this game, are composed of Naughty Dog staff and Insomniac staff. So the people who say, oh, not by Naughty Dog, so it's crap. It is by Naughty Dog. So right there, Naughty Dog. They changed the gameplay a tad. They add a bunch of, they're not spaceships. I mean, I guess you call them airships. And there's a lot more exploration like that. It honestly just feels like the next chapter of the Jak and Daxter franchise. It felt like it was the start of a new trilogy. The only major complaint that I could think of is some of the character designs were flawed. As an example of what I'm talking about with flawed character designs, I'm just going to use Kira as an example because she's the one that stands out the most. Jak always goes through like somewhat of a change, which is expected. But here's Kira, and here's what she looked like from Jak 1, 2, and 3. She's got big like anime eyes and a cute haircut. Her clothes represent how she acts. She's just like a cutesy character. She's brainy. And really the only thing that they keep from this design to her new design is the goggles around her neck. Let me just show you what the next design looks like. So her eyes get way tinier, her hairstyle's different. Like I said, there's her goggles, and the color of her pants remain the same. But other than that, you would never know that that was the same character. She's got pointy elf ears and goggles around her neck. But other than that, that character and this character, you would never think they're the same character. But that's just a minor gripe with me. Overall, the design of the character doesn't make the game, like, it doesn't, visuals come second to gameplay, always for me. So if the game is fun, the game is fun. But anyway, that's my rankings. We don't have any Ds, surprisingly. The only other game that isn't on this tier list is actually a game that I never played anyway. It was called PlayStation Move Heroes, and it had the Sly characters, the Ratchet and Clank characters, and the Jak and Daxter characters all meeting up, and you use the PlayStation Move to control the characters. But like I said, I've never even played that game, so I don't know where I would rank it anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.